Hello, everybody. My name is Gabriel Mullen. I'm a principal sales engineer covering the state of California government sector. Today, I wanted to explore some of the newer features we can use in order to keep our data safe inside our Snowflake account. Some of the primary controls that we can use to keep traffic secure or limit the amount of connections that are coming into our Snowflake account is with the concept of network policies. Network policies are made up of A, a network policy itself, and B, the network rules. So it is a one-to-many relationship between a network policy and network rules. A network policy can be applied at the Snowflake account level, making it apply to the entire Snowflake account. It can be applied to security integrations. A good example is through a SCIM integration or single sign-on to limit the access through things like Okta or Entra ID to just that service. Or a network of policy can be applied to a specific user. So if we have a network policy that is applied to a large corporate domain, but then we want to apply an exception for a particular user, we can do that. The network policy has a hierarchical application. So the policy is applied at the Snowflake account first, then at the integration or user level, which override the account level policy. There can be only one network policy active on the account at one time, but it can be made up of many network rules. I like delineating the tools or the domains by network rule, and you can see here in this slide, Power BI or Tableau would be a good example where those are services outside of Snowflake and they might be coming in from a different domain, and we can use the security rules to delineate that access. A new rule when you log into your Snowflake account is through MFA enrollment. So we are creating a nudge to make sure that users are protecting their data securely through multi-factor authentication. And so you can use our MFA through Duo, or if you want to use your own identity provider's MFA service, you can do so as well. And the way that we are going to tell the difference between whether you have enrolled MFA with inside Snowflake as a Snowflake user or your identity provider is through a new user type called type for that user. And so you can define a user as a human user, as an admin user, or as a service user. And each of these different types will define what that user is allowed to do. As an example, service users are only allowed for programmatic access and shouldn't be allowed to use username and password as a way that they authenticate. And because they're programmatic and automated, MFA would cause problems for an automated pipeline. So we need to remove MFA from that channel. The way that we do this is by defining that service user as a type service. But we can also force through a concept called authentication policies how we want to allow users and or service users to authenticate into our Snowflake account. So what we can see here is that we are requiring MFA enrollment for any of the users that leverage password as their authentication mechanism. And we can also see as our second example policy here that we can also make that optional. So we have a way of forcing users, but also making exceptions based on the scenario that we are presented to through our enterprise. We can also force single sign-on authentication. So in this example, we are allowing for our user to authenticate both with a password and through single sign-on as well. But we could also remove password as a valid authentication and just force the SAML policy. So this gives us a lot of ways to securely authenticate our users and mandate those policies across the account. So those are great ways of preemptively mandating the authentication policy or boundary that you want to provide. But we also want to be able to monitor and continuously monitor all of those components. So Snowflake has added the Trust Center in all accounts with a variety of scanner packages. So the CIS benchmarks is an industry standard on rules for securing your Snowflake account. Good security is layered. It's also a shared security model. And so the CIS benchmarks is an excellent list for being able to identify that you have secured all those different components. And so we have currently 3 scanner packages, 2 of which are free of charge. And the CIS benchmarks package is only charged for the amount of compute that you use. So you can set up these scanner packages to run daily, weekly, or even monthly. They run across your account, scan your security posture, and then provide the results through a UI. And so you can see over time how you're doing and complying with that shared security model. And it gives you not just the ways to solve the problem, but the users or policies that are out of compliance with a particular rule. So this is a fantastic way of monitoring your account over time. And so we've also added MFA into the Trust Center to make sure that all users that are human have MFA associated to that. And you can see here that we provide a result, an audit result of the individuals that have not complied with the rules that we're monitoring. Now it's your turn to take action. Explore these features in your Snowflake account, review your current security posture, and implement these enhancements that we discussed. Remember, strong security is a shared responsibility, and it starts with you.